Hey guys, good evening, and it's Friday night, so what better things do we have to do than a test flight for fly-by-wire? Actually, I'm quite looking forward to this one. This is looking at some new engine sounds, and just to quote the fly-by-wire site talking about this is a huge release that will make a lot of changes in to some of the engine sounds that we hear, most of them as well from the inside of the cabin, which is good because that's where we spend most of the time. And it's not just engine sounds as well, it's also sounds of the wind going over the wings when the flaps are in different stages. So we'll get to hear that as well as we're moving through the different flap settings. What are we doing tonight? I thought I'd do something completely different. We're in America. We are in the United States for no other reason than I fancied a change. So we are at Mobile, which is where the Airbus factory is located in the USA, Mobile, Alabama. And I thought, it's the weekend, let's head down to Orlando for a little bit of fun at the theme parks. So we're taking some Airbus executives down for a ride, and at the same time we'll check out these wonderful new sounds. So I'm looking forward to hearing that. Thanks for joining me, everyone who's there already in the chat. Sam C, Nick, good to see you, Ferran as well, and Christian as well. Okay, let's start getting prepped. Do you know, let me just have a quick look around this airfield, and because I never fly in America, I'm always excited at using the scenery here, because even it seems the default scenery here in the USA is far better, isn't it, than anything else. So yeah, I'm just excited to see that. Although there does look to be like some of those little glitch mountains over there in the background. Can you guys see that? Yeah, even look at the taxi. Look at the skid marks, the turn marks, just there on the taxiway. Thomas, good evening. Pretham as well, great to see you. So yeah, basically we're pushing back, and there's the runway that we're going to be departing from. So let me crack on, and I will give you the operational flight plan. Flight is just over an hour, about 1 hour 10 minutes, something like that. So here is the operational flight plan. We will have passengers on board, so we'd probably best start getting those loaded up. MFS pilot, yo, thanks for joining. Pratham, your game keeps crashing in the middle of flights. Any tips? Number one, turn down the settings, because if your PC can't handle it, it will just conk out. That's the first thing I would try. The second thing I would try as well is empty everything out of the community folder. Absolutely everything. And then try the same flight again. Gabrielle, good to see you as well. Random fun. Thanks for joining. Chris K, have a nice flight. We certainly shall hope so. Right, so there is our flight plan, and let me grab you the METAR for where we are. The METAR for where we are. Pete, hello my friend, thanks for coming in. There we are. So let's get back on board, shall we? And let's start setting her up. Get rid of all these white lights, do the flows, and do we have APU available? Yes, we do. I've also noticed with this latest dev build, because that is essentially what this is, the dev build, this test that I've got, this test aircraft that I've got now for this evening's flight is essentially the current dev build with just the new sounds included. So hopefully you can hear those kicking in just now. But I also noticed the bleed air valves are no longer turned down, they're all centered. That's just a small note. So what are we on? We've got the external power on. Let's get the ideas, oops, just turned too far. Get the ideas starting to align. Navigation lights on. Sort those out. Quick fire test. Number 1. Number 2, I'll also test the APU as well. HD, good evening. So the new sounds, as I was chatting about a moment ago, are sounds inside the cabin. Do you know what I'm going to do? Hang on, bear with me. You guys will then see what it is we're actually listening for. So if you want to visit this website as well whilst we're streaming, There you go. So very quickly, the engine sounds now come from the engine nodes and not the center. We've got engine startup sounds, new engine spool sounds, replacing all the samples for whines and buzzers. Make the engine sounds fade out with speed. There's a new rumble as well. The packs play with the correct SIMVAR, so it should play during the flight. Improved gear clunk sounds as well. Make the cabin wind sound change pitch during the depending on the different slats and flaps position, and change every main gear touchdown sound. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, if you want to go off and have a quick look at that, that is basically what we're going to be testing. So let's get our passenger signs on. Get this cabin set up, and then we shall also get the APU started. There is very little on the charts for this airfield, by the way. This is the Airbus factory in Alabama in the USA. Very, very little on the charts. There's no standard instrument departure. I even struggled to find an MSA for this. Oh, random fans. Yeah, I don't remember spammers. I just get rid of them. Let's get the APU started. Christian, fair enough, will do. As I say, this is brand new, only to PR testers, so unless you are on the PR test, I'm not sure. This is all new to this is the first time I'll be hearing anything that we hear tonight, so that's quite nice. Let's turn up the brightness then of these, and can we also get some passengers on board and start the flight? Christopher, good evening. MFS pilot, yeah, you normally leave 3 seconds between the master and starting the APU, so that's why there was a deliberate delay there. Let's get ready for boarding.
Cabin crew, yeah, we've completed the checks, so now you can open the doors and start getting the passengers on board.
As with all tests, we actually we are on lifetime. We are on lifetime and live weather because we're in the USA, and but we're not on any network, just in case anything goes wrong. A nice, satisfying boom sound. H&M, we are in Alabama, Mobile, Alabama. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Mobile. It reads mobile to me, but I'm sure they don't call it that. Jaden, you are bang on time. Thanks for coming in. Okay, so passengers on boarding. I'm just going to go ahead here and carry on setting up the flight deck. Then we'll get our flight plan loaded in there as well. That's all correct. Let's have a look then at the glare shield. Okay, so we actually don't have any information with regards to initial climb out. There's no standard instrument departure, so we're just going to set this climb level straight away to flight level 370 for today. I really do need to get a new mouse. I know they're like £2 off eBay. I just need to get one. What was the Q&H here? Sent it to you guys earlier, didn't I? 2996. We also noticed that the units are missing. Has anyone else noticed that? We've not got the units. So let's set it to from hectopascals to 996. There we go. Flight director's coming on as well. Okay, instrument panel. Let's get some brightness on here. Pushback not even started, Jane. We've not even began the cockpit preparation checklist just yet. We're just going through and setting everything up. Ideas alignment in 2 minutes. Passengers getting on board. What I'm going to do when we do start the engines up and things, I'm going to mute my mic and just turn up the sound of the simulator, so hopefully you guys can hear the rumble. Okay, so primary flight display set up. ILS alignment in 2 minutes. let's come down to the flight management computer. Have I turned the chat off for this? Yes, I have. Good. Let's turn this up. Cabin crew fighting with the door again, as we are very used to. AOC menu, and let's check that all these are correct. So let's pull the data in from SimBrief. HDs, they come on too slow for you. Wow. I think that might be that might be first world problems, where we could possibly be nitpicking a bit too much. To be honest, I hadn't noticed. I presume they're just LEDs that flick on instantly, aren't they, in the real flight deck? 1 hour 7 minutes for the flight. That's fine. Okay, so let's get all our weights and bounds things loaded in. Still using performance factor of -20, so we'll see how this comes in. I will remember to put in the alternate as well, which is Miami today. Check the block fuel 5198. That's now loaded. And our passenger weight payload 17888. And we'll get that loaded in. There we go. Gross weight of the aircraft now is 64 tons. Takeoff weight is 63.9, so it's actually only estimating a burn of 114 kilograms. So, mind you, it's not that far from where we're taxiing. Zero fuel weight 58.9. Zero fuel weight is 58.9. That is all correct. So let's go on to our init A page and pull these in. There we go. Put the alternate in for Miami. Joe Fletchers, thank you very much for your donation. We've not even left the ground yet, but that's your ticket sorted for Disneyland and the theme parks when we get there. Thank you very much. If you're on the Discord server, please do. If you're not on the Discord server, make sure you get yourself on there. And when you do, please make yourself known to me, and we'll let you in the VIP club. There we go. So there's Miami inserted as the alternate. FlyByWire 3124, that is the number of the test that we're doing today. Cost index 25, that is correct. Cruise flight and temperature 370 minus, only 1 degree off. I'm happy with that. Flight Simmer 109 on Twitch. The passenger sounds boarding are from a app called Self-Loading Cargo. No, the secondary flight plan is not yet working, but it is planned. Alright, so what we're doing now, in A, that's fine. I'm going to skip over the ideas position check. Let's have a look at the flight plan and get that imported. So, we are direct Murray after takeoff. There is no standard instrument departure here. And then, destination, arriving at Orlando, runway 36 right. Is that correct? 36 right. ILS approach via the Lease Echo 2. There it is. Or Lease 2. Via Tramp. Not Trump, Tramp. Let's get that inserted. And what's the transition? Where have my charts come? Have a look at the transition for that arrival. It is... Are we transitioning from OCF AMG? It'll be AMG, I believe. Let's pop that in. And insert. Why is it asking me to select that again? We'll double check that. I think the ideas will be aligned now. So, just do the error check. We've got a distance error of 449 and our SimBrief flight plan is 472. So, let's double check that in the plan mode then. Turn these constraints on, although I don't believe there are any actually. So it's a straight out departure, and let's check the routing as we come in, see if that looks accurate. That does look very accurate, which we like. Happy with that. Let's put those back into arc mode. Back to the McDo and let's do our init B page. So zero fuel weight is 58.9, 58.9, and centre of gravity, zero fuel weight centre of gravity, that is. Okay, so the planning fuel is giving us a block of 4.9. We are taking 5.1. Well, it'll be 5.1 on board by the time we depart. APU is currently running. Trip wind today of T67. Wow, that's nice and strong. It's going to be a short flight, guys. T67. Jin, when are we going to take off? When we have done all the checks and programmed the aircraft correctly. Otherwise, strange things will happen that we don't want them to. And I do get this a lot. People saying, does everything need to be set up? Do you have to set everything up? I said, no, you don't, but don't expect the aircraft to behave how you want it to. Am I driving a train? Because that's what it sounds like. No, that's the cabin crew fighting with the door. They're not very good. Alright, so RadNav is all fine. Let me just check. We've got a frequency there of 110.7, and I'm going to check the ILS frequency. It's not actually populated yet. That should be 111.15. We'll keep an eye on that. I imagine that frequency may be the departure frequency here in Mobile. Alright, so that in it be, and the takeoff performance page. So transition altitude, we are in the USA, of course. So transition altitude is 18,000 feet. Flaps 1 and flex temp takeoff I pre-calculated whilst setting up, so the packs will be off. Anti-ice is on due to the thick cloud that we've got above us. Runway is dry and flex temp of 68. Calculate these V speeds. 136, 132, 131. Thrust reduction then, let's have a look at that. The actual threshold and airport elevation is 26, so we could actually change that, could we? This has got it at 24, so let's just pop that in at 1024, 1024, 1024, and that's changed, so that's fine. Nad Papa 1 is go on HD. Oh, sorry, you're talking about the you're talking thrust reduction and noise abatement, aren't you? So we've just popped. I think we've just done Nad Papa. Is that Papa 1 or Papa 2 that I've just popped in there? You may have to give me the full briefing on that. Okay, so that is the performance page all set up. So quick briefing. Weather I've already given you guys. It's basically very cloudy, but other than that, nothing too bad. Visibility is well below minimums, and we could return to the airport if we had a problem. It's Cat 1 weather. But the acceleration is 3024. Okay, so I'm going to have to put all of this in, I think, for that. 1024 and 3024. So let's see if we get the thrust reduction and then the acceleration kicks in at just over 3,000 feet. See how that works. Yeah, don't worry about no times for this aircraft. The only things to note are the new sounds that we're hopefully going to hear. Threats, hardly any at all. Minimum safe altitude, looking at the charts, is about 2,000 feet. If anything happens badly, we will return to the airfield. It's a nice long runway. It's nearly 3,000 meters. Alright guys, let's have a look at this cabin crew and see what it is that they're doing and messing about with. I think we're almost fully boarded, which is good because I'm getting fed up of hearing that door sound. I don't know if you guys are. Glenn, hopefully the door has stopped now. It has. They're all on board. We can welcome them and arm those doors. And so we get our ATC clearance. We don't have any ATC. We'll get the pushback clearance as well in a moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello from Flight Deck. My name is Gavin and I'm your captain today, and I'd like to welcome you on aircraft.
It's not
We're expecting
EasyJet,
any
ignore
delays,
that.
We're going to get pushed back pretty soon. The guys on the ground have just popped the last of the luggage away, so if you can assist the cabin crew in getting yourself sat down, seatbelts on, everything fastened, and give them your full attention throughout the safety briefing, and we'll get going as soon as possible. Once again, thank you for choosing EasyJet, and
Hey, it's not EasyJet. It's fly-by-wire. It's only EasyJet during the day. Then we moonlight in the evening. Okay, so let's get the pushback clearance. Let's say we've got that. And get the rotating beacon light on. Transponder is on. Let's call our pushback tug. Do we have one today, or is it a phantom tug? Let's find out in a moment. HD Bimmer, this is a pre-release version, so it is essentially the dev build, but hopefully in a moment we're going to hear some new sounds. However, I'd need to stay in the cabin for this, so I'm not going to go outside and watch us taxi. I will be staying in the cabin for that. Okay, thrust levers at idle. And let's just do the before start. So cockpit preparation is complete, signs are on, ideas are on aligned and on nav. Fuel quantity is set, checked and balanced. Altimeter is set. And windows and doors, let's check those as well. Windows and doors all green. Rotating beacon light is on. Parking brake is currently on. We'll take that off in a moment because he's already pushing he's fighting to push us back. And then let's get those engines started. John Bowman, thank you very, very much for your donation. Do get in touch with me on the Discord if you haven't done already. Really is appreciated. Thank you very much. Okay, let's get these engines sorted. I'm going to mute my mic now as we do this, so you guys can check this out.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the crew, I ask that you please direct your attention to the monitors as we review the emergency procedures. There are 6 emergency exits on the aircraft. Take a minute to locate the one closest to you and note that it may be behind you. Count the number of rows to the exit. Should the cabin experience pressure loss, stay calm and listen for instructions from the cabin crew. Oxygen masks will drop down from above your seat. Place the mask over your mouth and nose like this, and pull the strap to tighten it. If you are traveling with children, make sure you put your own mask on first before helping others. In the unlikely event of an emergency landing and evacuation, leave your carry-on luggage and items behind. Life rafts are located below your seats, and emergency lighting in the floors will lead you to the closest exit. We ask that you make sure that all carry-on luggage is stowed away safely during the flight. While we wait for takeoff, please take a moment to review the safety procedures on the card in the pocket in front of you. Thank you for your attention, and we hope you enjoy the flight.
Alright guys, what do we think? HDUC mightily happy with that, and that's good enough for me. It is a much deeper, how did you describe it? Boom sound. And of course these sounds are in the cabin only. They haven't changed the exterior sounds. I think they're quite happy with how they sound on the exterior. But these in-cabin sounds are the new ones that they've been tinkering with. So that's really, really nice. Okay, so let me just go through and clean the aircraft up now. Engine mode selector is norm. APU bleed can come off. Engine anti-ice is going on for takeoff because of the thick layer of cloud that we have above us. APU master is now coming off. Ground spoilers armed. Flaps 1. Rudder trim 0. And pitch trim, what's our center of gravity at the moment? Almost bang on 30, so standard. Let's just go down 2. Eclam status, check. All is good there. After start checklist, anti-ice is on, ecam status fine, pitch trim 0.2 down, rudder trim 0. Okay, so get the pushback clearance, taxi lights coming on, and then let's head over to the runway. I'm going to have to squeeze the aircraft between that hangar and this aircraft here.
Cabin crew, we're about ready to pushback, so if you can use all the doors and cross-check, thank you.
Jaden, same to you, my friend. Have a great weekend. Random fan, I won't be on the Discord during the flight, I'm afraid. There's far too much to concentrate on. And it's on the checklist. Mobile phones off. Iraqi Airways, what are they doing out? Actually, that could be true. We are at the, although I don't think they build them here in the USA, but we are at the USA hangar, the USA factory. So potentially, you could have anything there. HD, if you give me, if I'm not allowed to use Google, I can look in some of the books behind me and give you an answer to that. Oh, there was a car just popped out there, saw us and had a change of mind. That was nice and neat. So following this taxiway, which is to the threshold of runway 14. So we are on live weather. We are also on live time as well, even though of course here where I am in the UK it is now nearly 10 to 9 in the evening, but here in the USA of course it is not. MSFS pilot, yeah, so we've got pushback helper, that's the only one we're using there. Okay, so let's just do a few more checks here. Flight controls, full left, full right, neutral, full up, full down, neutral, full rudder right, full left, right, and neutral. One thing I should also say, just while I remember, before I carry on, the flight I did yesterday to Parma, I was using the custom fly-by-wire experimental version, wasn't I? Which was a dream to fly, particularly on landing. Go back and watch that. Definitely one of the better ones, and with quite a strong headwind to boot. But because this is the dev version, I'm back to the normal Azobo Microsoft systems, so it might not be quite as neat, unfortunately. Okay, weather radar and wind shear coming on. Transponder is set, and we can also then ding the cabin crew up here. Parking brakes to max and TO config. Before takeoff checklist, flight controls checked. Briefing, quickly just revisit that. Very little. There are no SIDs, minimum safe altitude 2,000 feet, visibility of the airfield is good if we need to make a return, Cat 1 no problem. Landing weight, we're well below that. Yeah, other than that, I don't think there's anything else really to concern us with. TO config checked, TO memo, no blue. FMA data, 131 blue, 136 magenta, park, brakes max, climb nav blue, and The stop climb, we don't really have one. We're going straight up to cruise altitude of 370 and flex temp of 68. Okay, so with that, we can also just carry on to the takeoff checklist before the line. Cabin secured for takeoff. TCAS T8RA. And pop the lights on as well. Oh, come on, mouse. There we go. Runway turn off lights and strobe lights on. Packs can now come off. Let's get on our way. Let's go to Disneyland.
Cabin crew, seats for takeoff, please.
MFS pilot, it's self-loading cargo. You can literally record your own voice. HD, did I not hit pack 2? Yes, I did. Don't scare me like that. So let's see what the USA has to offer, shall we? Okay, as well HD, we're going to use the timer down here. Start the chrono and set N1 50%. And let's listen.
Positive for gear up.
Whiskey Tree 124, you were not cleared to take off.
Okay, so I wasn't talking through that because I just wanted to listen to the engines. And thrust reduction and acceleration seemed to work okay there, didn't it, HD, for me? That was good. We're now passing S speed, so let me put the autopilot on. And flaps. Those sounds are great. I say I didn't really want to talk too much over that. I just wanted to let you guys listen. But that to me sounded, the landing gear in particular, I can't wait to hear that on touchdown. And Thomas, yeah, you've just nailed it. The creaking sounds. HD, what were your thoughts on that? Can you remember what they sounded like? Sorry, that was cruel, wasn't it? just something else now to add to the immersion of it all. Get the cabin crew out doing their duties, looking after our high-ranking execs.
You may now use your electronic devices. Rechargeable battery packs are available for your smartphones and tablets at an additional supercut or super sticker cost. Please ask your cabin crew for more information.
MFS pilot, no, we go to standard because we're climbing straight to 370, my friend. So if we can climb to flight level 370, then we'll go standard pressure. Let's turn up the brightness of these e-cams, shall we? MFS pilot, yes and no. There's no smoking sign now, is a no portable devices sign, which is why I turned that off. In reality, of course, the aircraft has no smoking signs, which are just on permanently. Ryan S, why were the barking dogs taken out? Do you know, I still struggle to hear them in the flight deck. I'm going to have to pop that question in to the developers, because I know you can hear it just a little bit from the flight deck, but I can't hear it at all at the moment. Antrack, good evening. Random fan, I will. As soon as I finish this flight, it will be B&B time. And I'll have a look on the Discord channel just then for you. Hey to them, does your speed decrease when climbing, even though it should be at the place you've set it? Well, we're in manage mode, so we've not technically set it. Basically, below below 10,000 feet, it will be at 250 knots, and then the aircraft will continue to climb away. And it usually holds a steady speed, as it is doing right now. Everything is in manage mode. So as long as you set everything up correctly on the ground, which is why we don't rush things, then it should all work. Holgar, greetings from HDDI. Oh God, tell me where that is. DI, sorry, HDDH. Is that Hamburg? I'm really bad at this. I know the major ones. We're cruising at, well, we're going to cruise at 370, but let's just check what the optimums are. Optimum is 390, max 390, so that's fine. That's all good. Hamburg, I got there in the end, didn't I? Hamburg, great to have you on board the flight, my friend. Thank you for joining us. Okay, let's release the passengers as well. Anti-ice can also come off.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has turned off the seatbelt sign, so you are free to move about the cabin. However, please note that we do recommend you fasten your seatbelts at all times when you are seated in case of turbulence.
J-Doc, greetings from FAC. That is Cape Town. Am I right? I can see this developing into a quiz.
We are about to serve our lunch menu. Please make sure your tray table is in the down position and clear any items from the aisle. If you would like to upgrade your meal to the premium package, please pay the cabin crew using stickers or super chats to help support the channel. Thank you.
Richie, why when I load cold and dark, the Anlight SW stuck on test? Many buttons lit and inoperable. I'm not sure. Which lights are stuck on test? You mean the engine fire test? You don't mean the engine fire test lights, do you? Well, hey, J-Duck, got that one right. Oh, Craig, you just asked the dying question that everyone. What are my thoughts on the Xbox versions of the sim? Do you think they will be slimmed down? Well, first of all, thanks for joining us. I honestly don't know. I mean, they're the newer generations, aren't they? It's not for... It's not for Xbox One, is it? Is it Xbox... whatever comes after that? I honestly don't know. I hope not. I mean, I'm quite happy at the moment. I fly this, as many of you know, with a modest, mid-of-the-road PC. So if I just give you my specs, hang on a second. So here are my specs coming up in the chat, and it's not the best PC in the world, as you will see. It only costs about 750 quid, and I'm running this mainly on a mixture of high and medium with a couple of ultra for things like the clouds and stuff like that. And I think it looks amazing, absolutely amazing. So I don't really want them to dumb it down. I'd rather, in however many months, years time, I upgrade the computer and keep the graphics as they are. I really do. Barack Obama. Wow, you've had a busy week. Does the A320 have ground proximity warning and TCAS in the simulator? Yes, it does. Ground proximity warning system certainly does work. TCAS works as well, but only for AI traffic and traffic provided by Azobo and Microsoft, not for, say, if you're travelling on VATSIM, then it does work. Ryan S, do I prefer self-loading cargo or Pack X? I'm afraid I can't tell you because I've only used self-loading cargo. Scott Morgan, how was I able to get man flex? I've always only been able to manage man toga. It's how far you set the thrust levers on takeoff, my friend. So if you go down here and have a quick look, you can see the detents. We're currently in, well, we should be in the climb detent. We're slightly out of it. Hang on. There we go, now we're in the climb detent. Flicking away a little bit. You can see the one above that, which is the flex or the MCT, maximum continuous thrust detent, and toga right at the top. So just don't move it quite as far forward, and you should find yourself in the flex temp gate. MSFS pilot, if you're referring to me there with the PC, yeah, I bought that this year. Panyam on video. Sorry you missed the start of the stream. No problem, you're here now, that's the main important thing. Do I use Simbri for this flight? Yes, I did. Using Simbri for this flight. Which means that if anybody else happens to have their simulator turned on and you are in the flight deck of the FlyByWire A320NX, you can put my SimBrief username in if you wish, Easyjetsimpilot, and you will get the exact same flight plan that I'm flying now, which is great when we do community flights. We do need to do some more of those. Looking beautiful up here. What are we at? 30,000 feet? 7,000 feet to go. Brian Piper, that is correct. Self-loading cargo. Sam C, if they put the bark back in, not that I have heard, I'm afraid. X3497, yes I did. If anyone wants to check that out, head over to the page, and I've got a video going through each of the graphics settings that I use. Random fan, I have no idea what you're on about. Scott Morgan, no problem for the answer. What website do I use for performance calculations? Okay. So Let me grab you the one I use for working out flex temp, which is slightly off. It's not entirely accurate because this isn't for the Neo engines, this is for the A320 CFM or IE engines, but it works good enough in the simulator, so there you are. Nick, the fuel correction I'm using for this flight, and it seems to be working not too bad, is -20. But the climb fuel flow is not correct, as HD has just pointed out. We're still burning 1100, about just over a ton an hour. Should be a lot more. I tried to keep my flight sims as realistic as possible, random fan. Ryan, that's very kind of you to say. If you have any problems, please ask questions away. If I can't answer them, HD will. And also, of course, that goes to anyone. The whole point of this channel when it was set up was for tutorial videos. And then live streaming just became fun. HD, if you ever go back to work, you'll take a photo so we can see what it is. Fair point. 340. MFS pilot, you're ready for a community flight. That's fair dues. Of course, if you're on the Discord server, there is a the live streams channel. Not the live streams channel. Yes, it is the live stream channel, I think, where anyone can go up and set a community flight. When will this sound be released? As soon as possible, as soon as we've done many tests, just to make sure there's nothing wrong. So far, it's a plus from me. I think it sounds great. Absolutely wonderful. So, GG, is this the latest fly-by-wire stable build or better? This is neither of those. It's unreleased. So it's basically a test version which people like myself and many of the QA testers get to check out, test, make sure everything is working beautifully before it is then merged into the dev version. And then when the dev version is built up with quite a lot of new things since the most recent stable release, they then upload a new stable version. So yeah, I think I've hopefully just answered your question as well there, I hope. Ellis Matthews, what are the new features? So the new features in this are the sounds, and so far they sound incredible. I will remind you that they are the sounds inside the flight deck. None of the exterior sounds that you are used to have changed. This is just inside the flight deck. And actually I think some of the cabin sounds may have changed as well. I would have to test that out. MFS Pilot, get in touch with FlyByWire on their Discord. I think just because of the amount of streaming I do, I think I was invited to do it. X3497, I think it is cheaper to chuck them in simulators than it is burn real fuel. You're very welcome, random fan. Sergeant Vigil, they are better than this one right now. What we have? Oh no, these new ones. These new ones are absolutely amazing. Really love the sound of the engine spooling up and the gear creaking away on takeoff. That was very nice. All right, so let's just go through these eCam pages, see what's happening with the electrics. I always look forward to seeing what the electrics page is going to dish us up this time. That's interesting. I'll have to press the cycle through the... Are these matching up here? These aren't matching up, are they? Oh, have we found a bug? We may have found a bug. I'm going to have to cycle through these again in a minute. Cycling through the SD pages isn't working, guys. That was working before. Has anyone got the latest dev build downloaded in the last 48 hours or something like that and noticed a similar problem? That's all over the place. What's happening here? Ah! My lower ECAM's failed. MFS pilot, is the rudder trim out? The rudder trim shouldn't be out. Autopilot might be faffing around with it, depending on the winds. 101 tailwind. Woohoo! If anyone sat in the simulator at the moment and got the dev build, does anyone want to check these SD pages? So if I actually, there we go, if I click on them manually, they're all working absolutely fine, but cycling through them is not. So that's something to report back. Cycling through the ECAM pages no longer works. So that's the bleed. Let's get the pressure. I'll try that in a moment, HD. The ECAM ND switch to captain. So that worked, pressure. Electric. It seems to be working again now. Oh, maybe not. Hydraulics. Fuel. Nick, so is that the same in the latest dev build from a couple of hours ago? Ah, right, okay, so something's gone wrong. They've merged something that perhaps they shouldn't have done. It may not have been thoroughly tested. Okay, so if we switch that to the captain. No, still busted. Well, it's kind of working, isn't it? A loose connection. Oh no, it's not. It's jumped from pressure to engine. Neil, it's not just a delay, because that's what I initially thought, but it's actually not cycling through them all in order. So there's the engine bleed, but it's currently showing cabin pressure. Is that going to change? Nope. It's now showing electrical, so we skipped over cabin pressure. Something's just not lined up in the coding, is it? No. Okay, let's leave it. Basically, all the SD pages are absolutely fine, except the button used to check them. Oh well. Yeah, no, it's not doing. But we do get the switching ECAM on the upper ECAM. Never mind. Oh well, that's why we check things, isn't it? Flight progress. Where are we? So we are 21 minutes into the flight. Where should we be? We're 10 miles from Cablo, and we should be there at 21 minutes past. Okay, so realistically we're pretty much on time. Fuel remaining, minimum fuel remaining is about 3.4 tons. We've got plenty, not worried about that. Yeah, so we've got the switching memo there on the upper ECAM HD when I do that. There you are. Ellis Matthews, when I'm close to the destination, suddenly my aircraft doesn't follow the flight plan, it keeps flying in one direction. And I will bet that the direction that it takes, my friend, is a direct route towards the threshold of your landing runway. It is a known bug that we experience quite often, and to be honest, I've almost got it cleared into my checklists now to watch for that. Basically, if it happens, pull the heading bug and fly the route manually, or you can go direct to your route and hopefully to your next waypoint, and hopefully it will kick in again. Which button? HD? Not the clear button. confused as to which one you're asking me there, I'm afraid, HT. Paul Newman, hi everyone. Brian Piper, no problem at all, ask away, that's why we're here. The info bar at the top is only used for live streaming. It's from Flight Live Studios. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, no, that's in op. We can't press that. No, at the moment they're just static. They don't move. Still no top of descent, Alex? No, not yet, but it gives us a chance to flex our mathematical muscles. We'll have a look at that in a moment as well as we talk about our descent into Orlando.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to serve a selection of alcoholic drinks including wine and locally sourced ales. Please make sure your tray table is in the down position and clear any items from the aisle. This is a paid-for service, so please consider tipping the cabin crew and the channel using stickers or super chats. Thank you.
Paul Newman, the flight today is only about 1 hour 7 minutes. It's not that high, not that long at all. Mark, actually, not quite correct, Mark Walter. The banner at the top comes from Fly Live Studio, not Sim Toolkit Pro. But it is only used for streaming. I can't see it in the sim. Only you guys can see that. I can't see that. So if you're wanting to download that and hope to see it whilst flying, you can't. Russ, what's new in the mod? New sounds, my friend. Some wonderful new sounds, which you will hear again on descent. The way the engines spool up, the way the gear creaks as you're moving along. It is wonderful. Right, shall we have a look what on earth we're doing with this arrival then? This is the Lee's 2 arrival, which takes us from well, let's have a look. Trying to see if I actually can't find any of these waypoints on my charts. Where are we coming from? Right, so from Valdosta, which is actually Oscar Tango Charlie. From there we're going direct to Tramp, are we? Okay, it's not what my chart says. ILS runway 36 right. Is it 36 right or 35 right? Hang on. Yeah, 36 right. Actually, I think I've got the wrong ILS charts up for that. No wonder the frequency didn't match when I checked it earlier. Here we go. ILS or localizer 36 right. There we go. Oh, guess what? Suddenly everything matches up. Okay, so we're going basically direct from OTK to Tramp, and we want to be at 5,000 feet by the time we get to Tramp. There we are. And if we just check that on the navigation display, we can see that. So, because I had the wrong one in there, can we now actually program the correct star? ILS runway 36 right, and it is the least 2 arrival. There we go. Fire Tramp insert, and transition is OCF. Insert. There we go. Tramp, Floozy, Silky, Jacko. HD, have you just learned to control the Nightbot? Okay. At Ocala, or OCF, no, that's not where we're heading towards at all. Ignore that. At Valdosta, which is OTK. We want to be expecting around 270, so about 10,000 feet. We need to lose. So we can probably look at starting that descent now, actually. It's not our main descent, of course. They want us to be at 270, 15 miles after Oscar Tango Kilo, so that's fine. Don't need to descend too rapidly either. What I could have done is put in a constraint there. I'm not sure you can spam the Nightbot, can you? There's one way to find out. If it kicks your HD, I'll let you back in, promise. Not like that time it did it once before, didn't it? Or something did. YouTube said goodbye. You were chatting away and I've got no idea. Oh, I don't want to be descending that fast. Open descent, just getting a little bit too carried away there. Just watching the MMO. HD, I don't think it does. I've never tried. Oh, yeah, no, in-op. Have you ever actually used that in real life? I do remember reading about that a long time ago. But I don't think I could ever find any reports of anything I'd read saying anyone had ever used it.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Cockpit, we're now descending towards our destination. There's no delays ahead of us, we should have ground very shortly. If you could please assist the cabin crew by past the visibility you may have as they come around. And for your safety, please make sure your seatbelts are fastened, electronic devices are switched off or plugged into airplane mode, and the aircraft tours will also be out of use. We hope you've enjoyed the flight and we'll have you around safely shortly.
Okay, so it's screaming at me to enter the destination data in, which is what I was going to do anyway. AOC menu, let's get a weather request, see what's happening in Orlando for the weather. And also, just while I'm here on the RadNav page, just going to double check that. 110.7, have I got the right ILS frequency in there? 110.7, yes I have. Missed approach procedure, climb, outbound, left turn, 3,000 feet to the Orlando VOR. Continue the climb on the whole to 3,000 feet. It's VOR radio 248 to Dienmore. Let us just pop that in then. Oscar Romeo Lima. Oscar Romeo Lima. In case we need it, 157 miles away. Let's check our weather reports then, see what's happening. So, that's a long meta, but that's not the one we're interested in. We've got gusts. Oh no, this is where I want to use the FlyByWire custom build. 260 at 12. 260 at 12. That's going to be a crosswind, isn't it? Ah, typical. 10 miles. Clouds at 4,500. Few clouds at... Oh, that's 30,000. Not worried about that. 26 degrees and 2996. 2996. Okay. Have got other plans to fix the weather radar? I hope so, because it's just stuck at... I don't know where it gets the weather radar information from. It must be at some... like that first cloud level between... I don't know, I'm completely guessing, but between the ground and, say, 7,000 feet, I think that's all it does. QNH, what did I say? 2996. 29.96. That's interesting. QNH, do you put in the hectopascals or do you put in the HP? Or does it just recognise it when you've got the decimal point in there? 26 degrees, so that's quite nice, isn't it? Wind, 260 at 12. 260 at 12. Minimum descent altitude is, it's all Cat 1, 292. There we go. It's all set up. $140 miles away. Yeah, the UK update has been delayed until, when is it now? Is it 2nd or 3rd of this February? I read about that earlier today. So that's a shame, but never mind. So 76 miles from, actually with that crosswind, slight tailwind, call it 80 miles. 80 miles from the Tramp waypoint. VMO is your maximum operating speed, Sam. You've got VMO and MMO. One refers to the operating speed in knots, the other in as a Mach number. MASH, good evening. So what are the plans for the weekend, guys? Anything special lined up? Or is it Groundhog Day again for you all? Same thing day after day after day, unfortunately, at the moment, isn't it, for many of us? Which is why I really like the flight sim. I get to go somewhere different. HD, it's the weekend. Sam, jinx. That's exactly my point. Don't they all seem to be exactly the same? Mash, you're on your 3rd Neo flight getting comfortable. Well, remember to get up and stretch your legs, my friend. Paul, you're staying indoors, will be very hot here. Where are you, Paul? Clearly not in the UK. Mark, you should definitely try out the FlyByWire custom. Check out, it was a flight we did yesterday to the new Palmer scenery that had been released. Check out the landing on it. We got a headwind that was blasting around all over. And the landing was beautiful, if I do say so myself, but that is in thanks to the custom fly-by-wire build that had been put in. It was just so easy to control, and now I've seen the weather for this landing, I kind of wish I was in that, because I reckon the rudder would have been much more manageable. Oh, HD, she's working from home as well. Oh, lucky. Oh, Paul, you're in Sydney, Australia. Oh, well, at least you're allowed to go out. even if it is hot. Captain Sadi Tushi, you think X-Plane 11 is better? Good for you, but not graphics-wise. Flight Sim 20, everyone says stuff like this. Flight Sim 2020 is still a baby. You compare X-Plane 11 out of the box, no mods, nothing at all, and then compare it with Flight Sim 2020 out of the box with no mods. I still think it beats it hands down. Russ, any VATS and streams planned for the weekend? No, I'm afraid not. I don't stream at the weekend. If I do, it's usually in the evenings, but I don't think I'm going to get on this evening, this weekend evening. HD, that is sound advice. The problem I normally have, as many of you have witnessed time and time again, is not so much a problem with getting the aircraft on the ground, it's what happens after you're on the ground that it all seems to go to pot. And I even tested that the other day when we landed in, I think it was in Faro, when we had that crosswind. We landed in Faro, and I got the aircraft, but this was after we touched down as well, by the way, so whether it was a dodgy touchdown or not didn't really matter. Once we got the aircraft on the ground, we were rolling straight on the centre line of the runway, and I let go of the side stick, and the aircraft just continued to veer around to the left. It was as though the rudder was like almost hard over in one direction once we were on the ground. X-Plane got lazy and didn't think MS would come back. Well, to be fair, Mark, did anybody? Did anyone expect them to come back? If you're pointed straight down the runway when they touch down, your chances of staying on the runway increase by a factor of 3. I think they increase a hell of a lot more, don't they? Scandi 941, good evening to you. Do you know what? I'm watching this, I'm just watching the aircraft. I can see it actually crabbing in the wind with that. Look at that. Well, we've got 82 knot crosswind from the right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to serve a selection of alcoholic drinks including wine and locally sourced ales. Please make sure your tray table is in the down position and clear any items from the aisle. This is a paid-for service, so please consider tipping the cabin crew and the channel using stickers or super chats. Thank you.
Yeah, Sam C, I can always walk away from my landings, absolutely no problem. But I've usually got a few ruler bashes to the back of their head. MFS pilot, how much longer is the flight? Not very long at all, my friend. How far are we in this? In fact, UTC 2148, so I'm going to say less than 20 minutes. Less than 20 minutes. Do I have any tips to configure the side stick and throttle? The sensitivities, use them a lot. By default, they are all very, very sensitive, so trim them down. Unless, of course, you are using the custom build fly-by-wire version, and I refer you to the video on that. You will need to set up your sensitivities differently. So go back and, if you are going to try that experimental fly-by-wire version, which I urge you all to try it because I think it's brilliant. I've not used it in any of my streams other than last night, and when I actually did a tutorial video on it, testing it out. I really need to use it more. But yeah, you do need to adjust your sensitivities for that. HD, you can add the dead zone, but the dead zone say all refers to the centre, I think, unless they've updated it in a way. So it's literally when the axis is at neutral, which would probably be about, I don't know, 50% N1. It's not dead zone sort of like halfway up or 2/3 of the way up. If that, I don't know if that made any sense to you. I know what I mean. But it definitely does need a little bit more playing with, I think. You are right. Okay. Let's start that descent now down to 5,000 feet. .5,000 feet. And vertical descent of around 1,700 should do it. Slow the aircraft down as well. HD, yeah, exactly. If you could do that, that would be great. But you can't. It's literally just the centre. So the way the dead zones work essentially is I've got dead zones set on all the aileron, basically the yaw, the roll and the pitch axes, which means I can rest the hand on the side stick and the aircraft doesn't move, because obviously it interprets the very sensitive signals that even just resting my hand on the side stick will give a small movement. But with those dead zones set, it doesn't take any notice of them, basically, which is what you want. Mark, I agree with you. Not just the scenery, but multiplayer. Lots of people want to do multiplayer, and that's why I think this simulator has been a massive hit with the non-flight simming audience, if you get my drift. It's basically brought in a whole new stream of gamers to the flight sim world, which I think is fantastic. And that was the reason this channel was set up originally, because I found myself trying to help loads of people in the various Facebook groups, but I was just giving the same answers over and over and over again. So I thought, you know what, actually, let's just try and do a few quick tutorials and say, just watch this, just to get people flying the aircraft properly. And it's now since developed into so much more, largely in thanks to HD. Holger, no problem at all. Scanning out for water, someone just ironed the clouds. Yeah, they were a bit bumpier behind us, weren't they? We're about to go through them in a minute. That looks like a nice approach anyway. Everything's lined up beautifully. Yeah, Paul, I think you're spot on with that as well. That was another reason the sim has been so popular. What better time to release a brand new flight simulator with photorealistic graphics at a time when no one can actually travel anywhere? Ah, HD, am I making you blush? Okay, so our descent preparation, weather and landing information has been obtained. Flight management guidance system is all set. Landing elevation at Orlando is 92 feet. HD, if you go back to work, you may be able for a while. Do you know that we're all hoping you are? That came out wrong. I mean, we're all hoping you do get back to work, obviously. Then we can replicate your flights. Nick, you're doing a flight back from Faro, and the packs have a fault on them. Interesting. Spicy Nitrate, great username. This version is a pre-dev release. Yes, let's call it that. It's a pre-dev version. About to hit the cloud bank. Mark, it's not the latest
Ladies
dev
and
version, my
gentlemen,
friend.
the captain has turned
Not
on the
quite.
seatbelt sign.
It is the latest dev
Please
version,
fasten your
but with
seatbelts as soon
new
as
features
possible.
added.
Thank you.
In this case, new flight deck sounds. I've certainly not had that bug before, Nick. Have we managed to, has Christian solved your problem, Nick? Oh, Pete, I think it'd be great. We'll just follow HD round in the real world. See what he gets up to. Oh, Q&H 2996. MFS, you're back after a short break to get a Robinson's. Are you referring to the Black Current? X34, yeah. If it doesn't work, unplug it, plug it back in again. The fatigue reports you'll be filing out HD, yeah. Is there a way to replace the 4K textures of the virtual cockpit for 1K textures? No, not that I'm aware of. Wheel pants, no portable devices is basically what is you're used to seeing no smoking sign. You can change that yourself, of course. So if anyone wants to know how to do that, just because no portable devices is normally the sign switched on and off in the Neos, you go to the McDo menu just here. Go to, is it the, oh sorry, no it's not, go back to the McDo menu, then go to options, then it's the SIDS, I think. Yeah, so passenger signs now read no portable devices. If you click that, it'll go back to no smoking, and vice versa. Yorkshire Put, when you say they have to be trained to fly in both seats, do you mean when moving from one seat to the other? Just because it feels very different flying left-handed to right-handed. I just gave myself an early promotion. I always fly on the left with the left hand. I'm just used to that now. Here comes the cloud bank. Time to deploy some spoilers, I think. Spicy nitrate, yep, it'll do that when you're descending. Gravity has that effect. It's okay, we're nothing to be concerned around. So for those computer illiterate people like myself, DX12. Paul, what's that going to do? Is that going to knacker my frame rates or increase them? And what's it going to do graphics wise? Actually, Yorkshire Pud, no, I am right-handed. Right-handed flying with the left hand. MFS pilot, am I just killing kinetic energy for no reason? No, I'm saving fuel. Which you may not think I am, but I promise I am, because I don't want to be at 5,000 feet too soon. I also don't want to be at 5,000 feet too late, because then I have to travel more track miles at 5,000 feet, which burns a lot more fuel than burning fuel at, say, 10,000 feet. spicy nitrate, that's a good question. Me and HD were having this discussion the other day. So the engines were increasing. In fact, they are increasing now. They should be at thrust idle. And I think it's because I'm in open climb, not open descent, or VS descent, not managed descent. If I was in managed descent, that wouldn't happen. But also, what would happen is the aircraft would usually drop me at a rate that was far too fast or far too slow. Oh, right, okay, we got some nice view of the land. In fact, we've got the airfield. The airfield may even be in sight. Is that it? It's a little bit higher than the left knee HD. I'd like to get it down there at some point. It just feels a bit more natural there, doesn't it? That would require some carpentry. Yeah, so if we do that, as HD says, if I just now go to open descent, it should go to thrust idle. So if we do that, we're now in open descent. Just watch the rate of descent though, as that increases to about 4,000 feet per minute. But it has gone thrust idle. 10,000 feet. Let's get the landing lights on. Approach checklist. Minimum set. Engine mode select as norm. And my electronic flight bag is set up. So the Tramp initial approach fix is 16 miles away from touchdown. XD Flight Simmer, you're just in time for the best bit, or the worst bit, depending on how you look at it. We're all looking forward to a crosswind landing. One of the things I have noticed with the crosswind landings, the autopilot, when it's flying the ILS, tracking the localizer with the crosswind, I don't think it uses the rudder. It, or certainly, if you look at the flight controls, it doesn't. It almost just has the aircraft on a slightly sidetracked to the right or left of the localizer, with the idea that if you carried on, you'd end up on the runway at 0 feet AGL. Is that how that works, HD? I thought the autopilot used the rudder to track during crosswinds. Does it not? Every day's a school day. Unless you lose an engine, HD, then it's used. Right, we should be in the approach phase now. Yeah, we are, so let's go manage mode. Flight plan sequence is all good. And the approach phase is now active. Manage speed check. Flight path is looking good. Speed brakes now coming off. Landing lights are on. And in this turn we'll go flaps 1.
Cabin crew, please prepare the cabin for landing.
Holding our green dot speed. What is interesting is, if any of you have got the charts for this, it's a step descent rather than a continuous descent. on the charts until about 6 miles when you hit the glide slope. However, with the landing system now on, you can see that. Oh, spicy nitrate, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to land. Please make sure you are
So we're
seated with
19
your belts
miles
fastened
away.
and your trays in the upright position. Any items should be safely
And
stored.
in a
and
moment
remember
we
to
should
turn off
start
all
a
electronic
left-hand
devices
turn
until after landing.
towards Tramp
Thank you.
for runway 36 right. So monitor this route, this flight path. Seems to be coming around just now quite nicely. We've done dozens of flights, many of us together on the stream, but do you not still look at it sometimes and think, wow, that looks amazing? Because I do, all the time. Flaps 1. It's not the wheelchairs they need X34, it's the fire engines you need to alert. Let's see if we can be in line with the runway as we touch down. If you can do that on the crosswinds, then, well, as HD says, there's a much better chance of staying on the runway during the rollout compared to Flight Sim 95, yes. Spicy Night, that's very true. I mean, how much did we spend on things like wrecks and scenery and soft clouds and stuff like that, and all of this is just there, isn't it? I'm not using wrecks for anyone that is wondering. This is all default. All default. I always remember in FSX, if it was cloudy, you know, like it is right here, right now, then I knew that my frame rates were really going to suffer, and I don't seem to get it. The only time I ever find frame rates suffering with clouds is, ironically, in very, very high level cirrus clouds, which appear to be nothing at all. I don't know why it does it. Russ, I must admit, I expected it to go direct towards the runway threshold at some point, and it hasn't done. It hasn't done. I did expect it to. So I was armed and prepped and ready to pull the heading bug there and engage selected heading mode and then go direct on the flight plan. So does anybody have any local knowledge? We're coming into Orlando Airport. Do we actually fly over anything exciting? Where's Disney World? Exactly, Spicy Nitrate. And it's £60. £60. Paul, is this your first flight sim? Oh, you've been spoiled. Okay. There's the approach mode coming on. Lock star. Glide slope blue. Cat 3 single. There's the runway ahead of us. We just captured the glide slope. Christensen, I've got the premium deluxe. I went for the top build just because I wanted the scenery of the airports, really. How much do you need to pay to land at Disneyland? Nothing at all, mate. I'm sure self-loading cargo will fight with the doors and throw you out with a parachute. HD, you got the charts in front of you. So what are we? We're coming up to 14 miles out. Yeah, and at Floozy, we should be at 4,000 feet. That's the step climb though, isn't it? It's slightly off. We'll see. Are the new sounds in the experimental version? Yeah, no they're not. Not yet. No.
Cabin crew, please take your seats for landing.
So, runway 36 right ahead of us. Terminal to the right when we land. Flaps 2. So it'll be interesting to see if at Jackal we're at 1,600 feet. Radio altimeter live. Going over some bumps as you kept hearing it kicking in and out. That crosswind has died down a little bit. Is it 13 knots? Although it was gusting, wasn't it? So let's be aware of that. We'll listen to the gear sounds as well when that lands. HyperFS, the engine sounds spooling up. They've definitely changed a lot. And in takeoff as well. So there you can see the aircraft crabbing into the wind. Six and a half miles out, so we'll get the landing gear down. Ooh, listen to that. Wow. Flaps 3. Did you hear the wind over those as they came down? That was awesome. Flaps full.
1,000. 1,000.
Spoilers armed. Ding that cabin. Really need to sort those thrusters out. Why have we gone to maximum continuous thrust? There we go. Okay, autopilot coming off. Let's see if we can just hold that without it fighting too much. I can feel it bouncing as we did yesterday, but I've not got the fly-by-wire. Not got a fly-by-wire custom build with me.
400. 400. 300. 300. 100 above.
You can hear the radio altimeter just picking up trees below us. I'm having some frame rate drops coming into this airfield. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, why we're rolling. We had absolutely no rudder inputs at all. We were absolutely bang on then. I've now got a rudder hard right. If I let go, I'm going to roll off to the left. Let's just watch. See that? Ooh, let's stay on the runway, shall we? I'm going to have to
Ladies and
try this
gentlemen,
with
welcome to
the
Orlando. The local time is 16:59.
with the custom build.
Unfortunately, the temperature is currently a very cold 0 degrees Celsius, or 32 Fahrenheit, so if you have a jacket or coat,
Very
you
happy
might
with the
want to
landing.
put it on before
Very
exiting
happy with the
aircraft.
crosswind landing.
Please remain seated until the aircraft arrives at the gate.
Not
You are
happy with
reminded
that
to
rudder.
keep all electronic devices switched off until you have entered the airport terminal. Thank you for flying with Fly-by-Wire.
It certainly does lock over, doesn't it? HD, you've just hit the nail on the head. The experimental model was much better. Okay, let's just tie her up a little bit and then we'll find a gate to invade. And start the APU. Oops, wrong one. Did we all hear the gear creaking away though? That was quite nice when we eventually did touch down. Co-pilot screens are turned off intentionally. Saves on the frame rates. Is this a custom airport, by the way, guys? I wasn't expecting this. This looks really detailed. Very nice. If this isn't a custom one, then it's bloody good. I don't have any mods for it. I don't fly in America. No spoilers are still up. Beautiful. Oh, I didn't realise this was custom. Shall we join what look like dozens of Frontier aircraft over there on the right? I'm enjoying the scenery here. I'm not looking too much at where I'm going. I profess I've no idea, my friend. That is something I'm going to have to spend a bit of time looking at. Do you know what I also love? Just look at the way the waves are flowing in that water. It's the same way that the wind was blowing. And I know if I went into the weather and changed the wind direction, they'd roll the other way. I just love little things like that. Do we know, Christian, what the detailed airports will be yet for the UK? One of the things I'm thinking, of course, is of many of us, myself included, we've got the Mako simulations Manchester and Birmingham. So that's not Frontier, is it? Is that them Iran Airlines? What the heck are they all doing there? I promise I've got much more than Iraq Airlines in the community folder, just for a bit of scenery. That looks like a good gate. We'll head there. Christensen, which edition do you need to have to fly to Copenhagen, did you say? Honestly, I would say just the default. The best thing to do, there's a table online somewhere. I'm sure you can get it. Just Google comparisons. Google the flight sim version comparisons and it will tell you. Gate number 6. Very nice. Let's hold that there. Engine 1 2 shutting down. Here's my logbook coming in. Alright guys. So I'm presuming you're all a big fan of the sounds. I know I am. That landing gear coming down when we were coming in, that was awesome. I've not heard it sound like that before. That was really, really nice. And you could also hear the wind rushing over them as they came. And bear in mind, remember that the sounds that they have changed are the sounds of from inside the cabin, not outside. None of the outsides have changed. Captain Bush, that is the APU. So there's the jetway. We can turn our beacons off as well, and also let the passengers out. Beacon light off, and passengers, off you go, disappear. Touchdown was 155 feet per minute. The rollover to the left was 500 feet per minute. Okay guys, so I'm going to call that there. I think that's a successful test flight. Those engines sound fantastic, as do the landing gears. Really, really enjoyed that, and it was also nice as well to fly somewhere different. When doing these test flights, I always try to keep it realistic with leaving the Airbus factory, and so it's quite nice to do that little run from Alabama. We might have to do this again sometimes. Lots of sightseeing looks good, quite right too. Great stuff. Peter, you're new to the channel. Fantastic, thank you for joining us. If you are new and you haven't yet hit subscribe, please do so. Also like the video below as well. Thank you very much to all the supporters and donators of the channel. Please do catch up with me in the Discord if you want to chat further on there. As always, big thank you for flying with me on this Friday night. Hope you've all got a great weekend planned. I'll not be streaming during the day, as weekend is family time. May get on in the evenings if time permits, but if not, we will absolutely be definitely back in the flight deck on Monday for our long haul flights on Mondays at Mileage Mondays. Good night everybody, have a great weekend, and I shall see you all very soon. Bye bye for now.